This is the Xiaomi 11 Lite NE 5G and it's supposed to be an upgraded version over the Xiaomi Mi 11 Lite that I reviewed earlier this year, and if you know me, you will know that I absolutely love that phone. So I'm super excited to try out this phone. At the time of recording, the phone hasn't officially been launched yet, so we don't know the official specs or the official local pricing. But we can sort of make guesses and assumptions, but we'll do that later on. First off, let's unbox this phone and show you how it looks like. Before we get started, here's a quick word about Good Deals by KLGG, our official e-store. You can buy all sorts of awesome gadgets here at great prices, and you can even get 10 ringgit off on your first purchase with a minimum spend of 100 ringgit. You can also pay via 3-month 0% installments using IOU Pay or Atom. Visit the link in the description box below to start shopping. Before we unbox the device, let's take a look at the packaging. It's very nice, very minimalistic, and the brand new Xiaomi logo that apparently cost the brand a lot of money to design. But anyways, moving on to the side here, what I wanted to show you is the brand new naming conventions. For Xiaomi, they have removed the Mi moniker for their current and upcoming smartphones. So this one is just called Xiaomi 11 Lite 5G. Moving on to the unboxing itself, let's get straight into the phone. You get your packaging here, which has your manuals and phone case and the device itself. Before I turn it on, let's take a look at what it packs. So it's got a 90Hz AMOLED screen. It's got a 64 megapixel camera. But what's different this time is the Snapdragon 778G chipset, which is different from the 732G chip that came in the original Xiaomi Mi 11 Lite that I reviewed last time. So let's remove this and take a look at the phone. Now here's the back of the phone. In terms of design, it doesn't look all too different from the original Xiaomi Mi 11 Lite. I think this is a new color. I'm not quite sure yet because the phone hasn't officially been launched, but you know what? I absolutely love this color. I'm not sure if you can see it in the camera, but as light shines on it, there is a little bit of a light blue hue and a glow on it. It looks awesome, especially in this lighting. But anyways, let's take a look at the front. You've of course got your punch hole camera on the top right corner. Let's turn this on and go through the rest of the unboxing. Down here, you should get your charging adapter and cable. Let's see. Oh, it doesn't actually. Okay, let me see how many watts it charges at. So after taking a look at the adapter, this charges at 33 watts maximum. So it's similar to the original Xiaomi Mi 11 Lite. And of course, you get your Type-C cable as well. There's nothing else to look at. So finally, let's get to the phone. First, let's take a look at the design of the phone. As I mentioned earlier, it doesn't look all that different from the original Xiaomi Mi 11 Lite that I reviewed earlier this year. But what's different is I think this is a brand new color. It looks awesome and it's got a sort of a frosted glass finish at the back. And you get your Xiaomi logo along with the 5G logo here. You also get your square camera frame here that is partly transparent. You also get your triple lenses here. What I also liked about the original Xiaomi Mi 11 Lite is how light and thin it is, and this is exactly the same. I'm not sure if it's any heavier. This time we will know when it's officially launched, but this phone is incredibly light and portable, and I feel like this is one of those phones that are great if you are always on the go and you need something powerful but will slip in your pockets just fine. So let's move on to the display now. After reading some reports online, it says that this phone won't exactly be very different from the original Mi 11 Lite. It carries a lot of the hardware and design of the old phone, meaning this phone still has a 6.55-inch AMOLED display panel that runs up to 90Hz refresh rate, which is not entirely a bad thing. As I mentioned last time in my review, I love the AMOLED display. It's great. And the 90Hz refresh rate is great for scrolling, social media browsing, and all that jazz. And looking at the phone here, colors definitely pop, images are sharp, and watching videos is actually pretty decent. Although it's not amazing to any extent, it's doable, it's fine. Moving on to the camera setup, you get a 64 megapixel main lens, an 8 megapixel ultra wide shooter, and a 5 megapixel macro lens. Now, because this is unchanged from the original Xiaomi Mi 11 Lite, I suspect the camera quality and imaging quality is the same as well. But I'm gonna take a few photos just to show you the samples anyways. So I've taken a few photos on the device here. Now, as usual, our Xiaomi phones colors can be a little oversaturated, but you know what? They are super bright and they are sharp, so nothing to complain here. Moving on to the 64 megapixel camera. As usual, you get lots of details, especially in the grass and the bushes here. It's nothing amazing. It's not something that we've never seen before, but it's a great addition anyways. Moving on to the ultra-wide image, there is some edge warping that I can notice here, but it's not too horrendous, so I'll give it a pass. Moving on to the selfies, you get a 20 megapixel selfie lens here, if I didn't mention it earlier. And as usual, wow, there's a lot of beautification going on, but this can be changed in the settings. It looks great, especially with our lighting setup here. And on the portrait mode, it does a fairly good job at not eating up pieces of my hair. Let me zoom in a little bit. Yeah, it does a pretty decent job at separating the background from the subject. So in terms of daytime photography, the phone obviously does well, as we can already know since it has the same kind of specs we had in the original Mi 11. We will check out other photography features, especially night mode, in our official review of the phone. Now moving on to the main draw, which is probably the only difference between the Mi 11 Lite and E versus the original Mi 11 Lite, which is the upgraded chipset. This runs on a Snapdragon 778G, which now supports 5G connection, compared to the 732G that was in the original Mi 11 Lite. Now, with a better chipset, you should expect better gaming performance as well, which we'll probably do just a little bit later, just to show you how it feels like. Under the hood is 6GB of RAM and 128GB of internal storage. But as I mentioned earlier, the phone's not officially launched yet, so I don't know what other variants there are for this phone. So with all that said, let's do a bit of gaming test just to show you how the Snapdragon 778G performs. Let's start off with Call of Duty Mobile. Let me just show you the settings here. I have high graphics quality set with maximum frame rates, so let's see how this performs in a match. So after gaming on the phone for a bit, Call of Duty Mobile ran just fine on high graphics settings and maximum frame rates. There were some noticeable stuttering, especially during heavy firefights. Now moving on to Asphalt 9, the visual quality is set to high quality. So let's see how it performs. The high graphics settings, once again, the game ran pretty decent. There were some choppy frame rates, some noticeable stuttering, but that's, I guess, pretty common for the game. So when it comes to performance, the Snapdragon 778G chipset is nothing spectacular, but it gets the job done. You can play your games in high graphics and high refresh rate settings with no problem whatsoever. Unless, of course, you're playing Genshin Impact. I didn't even bother trying it with that just yet because I know it's just gonna struggle. No phone can really handle that game, to be fair. But we will try out more games in the official review coming soon, so stay tuned to our channel. Lastly, moving on to the battery, it comes with a 4250 mAh battery, which is pretty small in today's standards, but it has that 33 watts of fast charging, so it should probably charge up your phone in about an hour or probably less. And in my past experience with the original Mi 11 Lite, the phone can last you an entire day with some regular browsing, navigation, and light gameplay. With my experience on the regular Mi 11 Lite, the battery can last you an entire day with regular social media browsing, light gaming, and some regular navigation. So now when it comes to the pricing, I can't really tell you yet because the phone isn't officially launched, but I can sort of make assumptions because its closest rival would be the Realme GT Master Edition, which is very similar in specs. It also has a Snapdragon 778 chipset. That phone retails for 1,499 ringgit, so I'm willing to bet that this phone will cost 100 ringgit less. The original Mi 11 Lite cost 1,199 ringgit, so for a small bump up in price, you're actually getting a pretty good phone with an improved chipset and 5G support. So what I think about the 11 Lite and E is that it's a totally worthwhile phone if it's priced like so, because like I mentioned in my original review of the other phone, it's a great phone if you're looking for something that is super light, super nimble and easy to fit in your pocket. So I'm super excited to try out this phone and review it, so stay tuned to our channel. Remember to subscribe and comment what you would like to see us do with the phone here. Until next time, this is Victor signing off. Bye bye.